to another DorkLair action figure video. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legion's legendary Barbarian from Four Horsemen Studios. Before I get started, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Greg Schmerber for hooking me up with this figure. He was kind enough to sell me one of his extras that he picked up at ZoloCon, and he sold it to me for $50, standard price, the con price, plus, shipping. Just super generous of him, because we know that these things are going for mad money on the aftermarket. This figure is almost $200 on eBay right now, which is just absolutely absurd. I think what people need to understand is that this figure is going to get an online release. It's just that it's not going to happen for a while. This is going to be a figure that Four Horsemen bring to the various conventions throughout 2025. So you're going to see it at ZoloCon, you're going to see it at Toylanta, you're going to see it at Shop the Curiosity, you're going to see it at all the shows. I believe they're going to San Diego Comic-Con, so you would see it there. They're going to be at a lot of shows this year, and they're going to have this figure. It is likely going to sell out quick at those shows because of just the nature of something that's limited like this. But just realize at the end of 2025, they are going to put up the other half of the supply. They're dedicating half of the production run to the cons throughout 2025 and half of the production runs to the online sale at the end of the year. So you will have an opportunity to get this figure. The only people that should be paying $150, $200, whatever dollars on the aftermarket are those people who just absolutely have to have it now. And that's the price you're going to pay to have it now. I do think as more cons happen, as more people realize this thing is a hot ticket item, more flippers will buy them, flood the market a little bit more. The price is going to come down. There's only been one show as of recording this video where this figure actually appeared. So they're going to have a lot more of these just out in the wild as we keep going throughout the year. So the price is going to come down. It's just like right now it's been at one con. People are impatient. There's not enough people who know this is getting a regular release. Don't worry. Just pay attention to Four Horsemen towards the end of the year. And if you want it, don't hesitate. Log in right away and just buy it right away if you want it. And here we go with a close-up to take a look at the details of the legendary Barbarian. All three of the hair sculptures are the same sculpture, except you get this one in brown, you get one in black, and then you get a blonde one. So you kind of have legendary Barbarian here, not He-Man with the blonde hair. And then with the black hair, you have not Conan, which it actually really isn't Conan because it's got green eyes, but it's Conan, right? They're probably doing the green eyes just to respect the actual licensed property that they are not licensing here. But it's a great tribute. It pays respect to Conan without completely just ripping it off. So I think that this is, an excellent homage. And for collectors, it's hard to see the eyes when this thing's on your shelf. You can totally just slot this in as your Conan in your collection. And it's probably going to be one of my favorite Conans now. I only have the one. This figure is currently hard to find, but I will eventually get three and have it set up in all three on the shelves there. So I can have a He-Man, a Conan, and a, legendary Barbarian. And yes, indeed, this is a brand new head sculpt, brand new hair sculpture. The body is pretty new. We've only seen it, I think the torso we've only seen on Gaspar the Unamused. Upper arms we've seen on Gaspar the Unamused, but he has different lower arms. These lower arms we've seen on the Anubis figure. The whole arms, I believe, are the same arms as ATL 25. And then figures that haven't been released yet as well. And then the legs are new also. So these are new legs that I think Gaspar has these newer legs. I'm not 100% sure. I did have one issue when I heated the figure up and was articulating the legs. I had this piece right here get soft, and then I didn't even realize it. I was articulating this, and it smushed the plastic up and started ripping it. And then I had to like snip it off just to like make sure it didn't like rip more. So I did have one issue there. So just like when you're heating your figures up, this is like something that's actually happened to me on other figures in the past. Like just be careful when you're going to start articulating that leg, because do it gently and just see if it starts pushing that plastic. I just ham-handed it and like wasn't really paying attention on that. So heat is important, but it can cause issues as well if you're not careful and paying attention. And then as far as the gear, he's got on these straps that have a very leather quality to them. They look really good. They're like fully painted. You have the little silver details, the little golden details. This one here, this kind of cross strap, that is the same strap from the Deluxe Legion Builder Gladiator. And then this strap's been on a few things. It was, I think the first time we saw it was the Skeleton Legion Builder 2. And then this also came with all of the Armory Knights. But this one's just, it's painted really well, like with that wash in there, just giving it a really like lived in quality. I do love the belt combo they went with. This is the same combination of pieces on Vorthog, and they work so well together. You've got the like Barbarian big bulky belt. I did wish, like when they did the Armory Knights, this is the belt I really wish that they had a fourth belt for, because they only had 3 belts. They had like 4 different armor packs, or like whatever. Yeah, the armor packs. They had like 4 different armor packs, but 2 of the armor packs came with the same belt. So I wish that they had included this belt as like a 4th different belt. This could have used a little more paint, but it does have some nice details. You've got some leather details here with some silver over the top of that. And then you have some wash in the fur and some more kind of leather painted over there. I do have a real sloppy piece right here with some black wash, I think, that pooled up and dried. Could just be grime in the world, but you know, that's a little bit of a sloppy mess right there. And then we've got the cloth goods over here. So this piece does have wires. It's kind of hard to see, but I really love this piece. It's got a wire here, and then it's got a wire on the back, and then of course a wire on the other side over here. No wire down the middle, but it's got a nice, let me get a close up here. It's got a really nice texture to it. It does remind me of some of the cloth goods on Gaspar, which I think are some of the best in the line. And then you've got like a nice frayed edge along the bottom. Really cool skirt piece to add to the library of cloth goods now with Mythic Legions. He does have a pair of bracers on his wrists in a gold sort of bronze kind of a color, and those do slide on and off. If you pop the hands off, you can pop those off and have them just be fully bare armed if you want. And then we got the boots. We got the cuffed boots, the sort of swashbuckler style. These, a similar version of these were on the Jacob Marley figure. We're going to see them on a few other figures, but one improvement they've made since Marley is that they've made the this on Marley from here to here, this distance is all one piece. So when it comes to like swappability, it's not going to really have a lot of play. But now you have that cut down here. It's below the knee. So these boots are completely separate, and then you can swap them onto other figures that have the same thing, like some of those cloth goods figures. And like the straps, it's got a nice leathery look to it with a black wash on top. So looking really nice with those new boots. Zooming out, here's a look at the overall silhouette of the legendary Barbarian. And real quick, I just wanted to again say thank you to Greg Schmerber for hooking me up with this figure. Greg has a YouTube channel called New to Mythics. If you are if you're into Mythic Legions, especially if you like to hear people's story about when they were new to Mythic Legions, check out his channel. I actually recorded an episode with him, and I think it's supposed to air very soon, like next week or the week after. So be on the lookout for that. Go subscribe to New to Mythics. And so, yeah, so here he is all zoomed out. And he stands just under 7 inches tall, which is pretty much in line with a lot of the other 1.0 body Mythic Legions figures. For comparisons, here he is next to a couple Mythic Legions Barbarians. On the left is the Deluxe Legion Builder Barbarian with the Deluxe Legion Builder Gladiator torso and the Deluxe Legion Builder Dwarf head sculpt. On the right is the Deluxe Barbarian Builder set from the original 1.0 wave that still holds up as just an awesome, fun set to have, and still, I think, relatively easy to get. They made a lot of those. And so you can see his skin tone obviously is much darker, much more suntanned. It's also like this new body, right? This is a good comparison of the two bodies, the two bear bodies now. You can see that the new body is much more textured. It's like you can see the pores and stuff. It's just feels a little more lifelike. It also has a little bit less of that like heroic V shape and a little natural like hanging of the arms down. So you kind of have a couple options now if you want a more like jacked up V shaped kind of hero body, or if you want like just more of like a natural ripped guy. Both kind of options there, and they all look great together. It's just the colors are different, so you're not going to necessarily be able to like do like head swaps super easy, but still look pretty good all together. And then just a couple other 1.0 Mythic Legions figures. We have the new Graveyard Skeleton on the left, and then a Kit Bash that uses one of the Armory Knights on the right. And here he is with a couple 2.0 figures. On the left is Beluelith, and on the right is Snag the Goblin. And here he is next to a couple non-Mythic Legions Barbarians. On the left is the Mezco 112 Collective Conan the Barbarian with a Kai Labs leather set. And on the right is the Icon Collectibles Dark Wolf from Frazetta Girl's Fire and Ice line. And these ones, I feel like skin tone wise, he's almost like right in the middle between these two guys. Couple other lines, Bandai and NECA. On the left is the movie realization Ronin Mandalorian, and on the right is the Ultimates Elkhorn from NECA's Dungeons and Dragons line. And finally, here is the legendary Barbarian with the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Tiberius and the Savage Crucible Camo of the Isles. For accessories, like I showed earlier, he does have those two leather style straps. Those are both removable, so you could have one on him or the other or both like I have here. 3 different hair pieces, brown, blonde, and black, and those are pegged in with this like square peg, just like this, so you can take it and swap it, and boom, you've got He-Man right there. And if those 3 looks weren't enough, you also have this head here. This is actually the head that came on the figure in the box. It had the horns off in a separate compartment, and then you had this head on the body. So this is the dwarf head from the Deluxe Legion Builder dwarf, and that looks pretty awesome to me. So a completely different look if you want it. He has a couple classic Mythic Legions weapons. He's got the double-bladed axe here, and then he's got the dwarven sword. And I did actually have an accident with mine. I broke the tip off, but it glued back on fairly seamless. You can kind of see where the tip is. I was pulling it out of the package, and instead of pulling it out this end, I ended up grabbing it and just yanking it, and the tip snapped right off. I've never had that happen to me. So just be careful when you're pulling your stuff out of the box. It was a really weird breakage. Like I've never seen that before. And then he's got a shield, and it's the classic shield, but it's got some cool paintwork here. It's like a very light blue shield with some golden accents. And as they've been doing, it comes with both the hand grip handle and the C-clamp handle. He's also got a pair of shoulder pauldrons. These are the ones that came with Poxus, so I believe this is just the second time we're seeing those, so kind of a rare piece. And then he's got some shackles as if he's just broken free from captivity. He's loaded with hands. He's got a pair of fists. He's got a pair of horizontally hinged gripping hands. He's got a pair of vertically hinged gripping hands. He's got a pair of horizontally hinged gesturing hands that's kind of like an open hand, almost like maybe ready to fight or grapple. And finally, he's got a pair of gesturing hands in more of a claw kind of shape. And so yeah, when you see all the accessories together, it's just an absolute loadout, just a ton of stuff with this guy, lots of different options and possibilities for mixing and matching and kind of like building out your perfect barbarian character. For articulation, the head is on a ball joint that is also on a hinge. So you get a lot of motion going up and going down, and of course it is on that ball joint, so you can cock it side to side, you can twist it all around. So great movement. I love that they added that hinge on the neck there, so really adds to the range you get. The arm can go all the way up to here. Of course, when you have those shoulder armors on, it's going to mess things up a little bit in terms of that range. and then you can swing the arm all the way around. Single jointed elbow comes up a little bit past 90 degrees, which is an improvement, but it's not quite as good as like the Valiant Knight or the Skeleton, and definitely not as good as the Red Death body. And I feel like I remember them mentioning that they were trying to get more range and it didn't quite work out. And that's one of the reasons why they've chosen to start trying and playing around with the double jointed elbows in the future. So that's going to be a nice addition there. And then you've got in the waist here, you've got the standard ball jointed waist that's compatible with the other figures that can, you know, kind of get a good amount of range in there, side to side, forward and back. And then the leg can kick out to about here, which is pretty good up in those hips there, and can kick back quite a bit, can go out into the splits. There is a swivel at the top of that leg. And then you've got that single jointed knee that comes up to just about 90 degrees here. You've got a twist below the knee, and then you have a twist below the, or at the, like the boot cut there. And then you have a hinge at the ankle. The ankle can twist as well. And then there's a rocker. So, you know, this is a newer body. It moves a little better. It feels a little better, but it's still, you know, pretty much a 1.0 body with just like a little bit more range and just a little more smooth. Very simple pop and swap here. This is the belt from Gideon Heavensbrand. I think Gideon Heavensbrand is still the #1 figure of the year. I know a lot of people were saying Gideon, and then when this Barbarian came out, they were saying Barbarian. But I still say Gideon is a little bit better than this guy. But if you take Gideon's belt and you put it on here, that takes this figure to a whole other level. Like, it makes it feel even more new and just kind of gives it that more like adventuring barbarian kind of quality to it. I absolutely love this belt on here. I think it is a perfect match for this barbarian. And my other swap kind of goes all in on the escaped captive look by, again, just taking the belt, this time from Frankenstein's creature, to give him that look as if he's just still in the rags and he's just escaped captivity and he's sort of just in that part of his adventure. Final thoughts, this is a pretty kick-ass barbarian. Now, they haven't reinvented the wheel here. This doesn't feel as much of a progression as the new Knight body did. This definitely feels like progression, and it's a fun figure to play with. It's absolutely a desk figure. It's a pop and swapper's dream. It's a lot of fun. But it's, you know, the advancements are cool, but they're not mind-blowing. And for that reason, I would say, you know, definitely get this figure if you're at a con for $50. It's a banger. It's an awesome figure. It's going to be a super popular figure, but don't go aftermarket for this. Like, I don't think you need to try to break your back trying to get this figure. This shouldn't be a white whale chase for anybody, you know? Just wait. It's a perfectly fine figure to wait for when they do the online sale at the end of the year. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may the force be with you.